Get your raffle tickets. Raffle tickets for sale. We got about 10 more minutes of selling raffle tickets. You can't win if you don't play. Shar Harris wants to play raffle tickets. Come on, Shar Harris, get over here and get your raffle tickets. Oh my God, Tim Gronke's in the house. Tim Gronke, come buy raffle tickets.
Fellow Rotarians and guests, enjoy your meal. We'll get back to you in about 10, 15 minutes.
we got Tim Gronke bought his tickets today, so he is probably going to win, but maybe not. If you want to buy raffle tickets, I got about 5 more minutes worth of sales. 5 more minutes worth of sales if you need raffle tickets. There we have President-elect Bobby Larson, who has neglected his ticket buying duties. Bobby Larson, ticket buying duties. Last call for raffle tickets. Last call for raffle tickets.
Stand. Oh, okay. Because they're doing the panel discussion today? Is he here? Oh, shit. I forgot that. Where is he? A beer table? Are you the way at the very back? Oh, I see him. I see him. Okay, good. Thank you very much for reminding me. Okay, good. I'm glad. That's awesome. I'm going to just start off with that so I don't forget. Okay? We already did it. Thanks, Dan. Tom, are we good? Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Rotary Club of Tucson. Thank you so much for coming today, and I do want to announce a very special guest that's here. All you Rotarians know him very well. If he'd please stand, he's over at the rowdy table where he belongs. Conrad Plimpton from New Jersey. Thanks a lot, Dan. Now for our pledge and song led by Dan Com, who became a member January 9th of 2020 with State Farm Insurance, and will be singing and the pledge.
All right, everybody. Ready? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Maestro? You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true neath the red, white, and blue, where there's never a boast or brag. Should all acquaintance be forgot, keep your eye on the grand old flag.
Now we'll have Mitch Pizek please come up. He became a member March 25th of 21 with Mitch Pizek Consulting Group. Where's Mitch? There he is. Welcome.
Oh, I got you. I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me to ask, of the over 2,640 spices in the world, which is most like the Rotary Club at Tucson? Upon deep reflection, I now have an inspired answer to your inspired question. Salt. Yes, salt. Allow me to elaborate, educate, elucidate. Without any salt, food can be bland and unsatisfying. Adding too much salt, though, will ruin the experience altogether. As I would describe our wonderful club, if you don't get involved, your experience will be unsatisfactory. Yet, If you attempt to engage in all of our over 100 events we now have each year, it could be overwhelming. We have 10 fellowships which you can enjoy, including the Whiskey Club, Hiking Club, Axe Throwing Book Club, and a plethora of other wonderful options. We have 15 community projects throughout the year, inspirational, important, impactful endeavors. Whatever your passion, you'll find 2 or 3 fellowships to participate in. Whatever your passion, you'll find 2 or 3 community projects to participate in. Come for lunch as often as you can. Come to the social events as often as you can. Go to at least one of our annual Rotary dinner parties. Season your life with Rotary, and you'll have a spicy, flavorful, memorable time being surrounded by wonderful people. Actually, they're more than just wonderful people. They're the salt of the earth.
Awesome. Now, I left off that Mitch went to the University of Illinois, where many of us went to, ILL. But Mitch was a lot more inspiring than the U of I last weekend. I did want to mention that. Okay, now we got introduction to guests. Dan Comigan.
Thank you, Bobby. All right, so if you're watching from home, I'm not going to introduce you because I don't know who you are watching from home. But I will say this, as I look out on this group and I see all the people that are here today, I just want to say what a great group and what a bunch of salt. And if you're looking for a home, like the SAHBA guys here, and you want a club that you can plug into and have fun with, I highly recommend you consider our club just because it's fun. So, and I got to say, it's been a while since I've seen Lou, and Lou just walked in. Lou, I'm so glad to see you. All right. So when I say your name, if you would please stand up so we can recognize you. From Rotary International, Laura Mello. Laura? From the Catalina Club, Barbara Kiernan, the Global Grants Chair. All right, we got guest of Bobby Larson, Conrad Plimpton. Guest of Bobby Larson, Fata Garby. Fata? Guest of Joe Pennington, Mickey Pennington. Mickey? Guest of Loida Eisenman, scholarship student Dominic Smith. Dominic? Guest of Cammie Evans, Kim Briggs. And guest of Amy Graves, Sarah Cothern. Last but not least, I got guest of Autumn Hufalt, Felisa Hansen. Felisa? All right, those are our guests for the week. Welcome, welcome, and we're so glad you're here.
Now for your president, Dot's favorite thing of every meeting. We are now giving away the Cookie Monster. And this year's sponsor is the wonderful Joni Condit, who is not only the CEO of La Posada of Green Valley, but she's also the CEO of La Posada Push Ridge. So that is one busy lady right there. So, Joni, are you? I'll bring this down to you. Yeah. Remember, for all you people thinking about sponsoring the cookies, the bag ends up being so full because they make a ton of cookies for you, and they're delicious. So now, again, we would like to have Michael Guyman, if you would. Michael, he's the moderator today. He became a member in 5/19/22, Business Services with the Chamber of Commerce of Southern Arizona, and the University of Arizona, his alma mater. Michael.
Hello, everyone. Are we ready to hear about housing? Good. Glad everyone is excited. So, as I'm apt to do, I did put in ChatGPT, give me a dad joke about housing. And this is what I'm blaming ChatGPT, so you can't blame me. Why don't houses ever get in trouble? Because they always stay grounded. Yeah. More, yeah, thank you. I'm very, very excited to have this panel with us today. This is going to be a great conversation. Housing is on the top of so many communities' minds. I have to tell you, just from the work that I do at the Chamber of Southern Arizona, we do a lot of work in economic development. Tucson once was able to really position itself as a place where companies could come, their employees could find housing that was less expensive than most. It's more challenging to say that these days. So housing is a big issue, not only for obviously the people who live in our community, but also for future economic development efforts. So really pleased to bring these three awesome people to speak to you today. They're going to be answering some questions about this issue. They do come from three different perspectives, which is good. I'm not going to say that's why these tables are so far apart from one another. It feels like they're going to hit each other over the head with a microphone or something, but they're not. They are very respectful individuals. They work together a lot, and they're just three great individuals who I'm really pleased and honored to have here at our Rotary Club today. So, without further ado, I'm going to introduce them individually. First off is, ladies first, Ann Chanecka. She is the Director of Housing and Community Development for the City of Tucson and has over 25 years of experience in planning and community development. Ann has a master's in public administration from the U of A, bear down, and was a Peace Corps volunteer in Madagascar. Ann also told me a story right before this luncheon started that she was a Rotary Award scholarship recipient when she was 16 years old. So Ann has a great connection to Rotary International. Let's give a warm Rotary welcome for Ann Chanecka. Next up, Dr. Dan Ranieri is the President and Chief Executive Officer of La Frontera, Arizona, which is headquartered in Tucson. He has over 45 years of experience in behavioral health and has held positions of leadership in both the public and private sector. Dan has served on the board of directors of several local and national organizations and was awarded the Visionary Leadership Award by the National Council for Community Behavioral Health in 2013. Let's give a warm Rotary welcome for Dr. Dan Ranieri. Last but not least is David Godlewski. David is the president and CEO of the Southern Arizona Home Builders Association, otherwise known as SAHBA. He's worn the shirt. He's all decked out in the branding, which is great. David has been with SAHBA since 2008. He has been the association's president since 2011. David is a member of the DM50, the Pima County Housing Commission, Pima County Conservation Lands and Resources Advisory Board, and the City of Tucson Economic and Workforce Development Selection Committee. Let's give a warm Rotary welcome for David Godlewski. Thanks, David. So let's go ahead and get started. I have some questions. We will see if we have time afterwards for audience questions, but just start with kind of a basic one. Well, maybe not so basic. It's certainly not going to be tell us about yourself, because we're going to dive right in, knowing we have limited time. Tell us about the current state of the home building market and how affordability has been affected in the recent years. And Dr. Ranieri, we'll start with you.
I think that's on now. So La Frontera is focused on affordable housing. So our focus is primarily on people whose income is 60% or below the area median income, and also the homeless population. And most of these folks are either unemployed, on fixed income, or on very minimal income. And The inventory is a fraction of what it needs to be. We were, I think we were close to, I won't say solving the problem, but close to having a good handle on the problem until the late, 2018, 2019. And then two things happened. One was COVID, which increased the need substantially. And then the second one was fentanyl, which has probably been the biggest, most difficult issue we've had to deal with. So for that population that's at or below 60% of the area median income, the inventory is woefully short and getting worse all the time.
Thank you, Dan. David, give us your thoughts on the state of housing currently. Then we'll do some deeper dives as we go along.
Well, first, really appreciate the opportunity to be here and address the group. A lot of familiar faces. This is the topic that continues to be on the mind of a lot of people in our community, and not just in Tucson, but really across the country. Communities are facing significant challenges in this area. You know, I would say that specifically, like looking at the state of the market today in terms of home building, we're not in a good situation. This is shaping up to be a very challenging year. We were going into the year, we were optimistic about the trend of permitting activity and really affordability as well, and it really hasn't played out that way. Just to give you a perspective, so we kind of measure everything in home building in single family permits. You know, if permits are up, it's a good year. If permits are down, it's a not so good year. So far, year over year, we're 36% under where we were in 2024. Lot sales are down 49%. We have seen some moderation in terms of home pricing, median home prices coming down a little bit. But to kind of to what Dan was talking about, we just saw a confluence of different factors during the COVID years that exacerbated construction costs, land prices, labor issues, and so we're still trying to work our way through that. But the bottom line is 2025 is going to be another undersupply year. We still are not building the number of homes that we need. We should probably be in the range of 6,000 single-family permits a year, and this year we're going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of maybe 3,200 to 3,500 permits a year.
David, just real quick before I get to Ann on this. So you're part of a national organization, and you talked about some of these numbers. So how does our region compare with some other regions? Are we kind of in the middle? Are we under? Where are we nationally?
Come on, Michael, we're friends. You're supposed to give me that in advance so I can do that kind of research,
right? But I'm also a moderator that gets to do what they want.
Yeah, that's true. I don't know specifically. The closest comparison is obviously is Phoenix. Phoenix is down by a similar percentage, and so I think that it's kind of where the market's at is not unique to Tucson, but nonetheless we continue to trend behind where we need to be, and some of these underlying challenges still remain. So,
okay, thanks, David. So, and you're from the perspective of the city. So, and I know the city is doing a lot of work in this area with the HAST, and I know partnering with Pima County on a number of things and other jurisdictions. So, from your perspective, where are we on housing? A similar question to you.
Yeah, thank you, and thanks for having me here today. I think about this topic all day, every day, really, even when I'm sleeping, so appreciate talking about it. I am a planner by background, so I think about numbers all the time. You mentioned the increase in housing costs, so I come always with numbers. And you mentioned 2018, 2019 really being a tipping point. Since 2018, we've seen a 253% increase in unsheltered homelessness. So when you see the encampments and you see it reflected in those numbers, and I do think that is largely because of the significant increase in housing costs. So since the pandemic, we saw a 66% increase in rental costs. We saw an 86% increase in home prices. And so even, yes, significant homelessness numbers have increased, but so has the cost for folks who are in their apartments now. And so we see over half of all renters are housing cost burdened, meaning they're paying more than they can afford to be in those apartments. And so one medical bill, one car accident, anything like that really ends up resulting in folks being in precarious situations. And so yes, I look at numbers, but I also always want to back those numbers with reality. As for the city, we run the Area Public Housing Authority. So when you Google affordable housing or vouchers or anything related to I need help with housing, one of the first email addresses you will see is mine on the Housing and Urban Development site. So every day I get emails from Tucson families asking how do they get help.
Thanks for that, Ann. So that gets a little bit into the next question, which we've talked about some challenges. I'd be interested in your thoughts on some of the greater challenges. Is this David talked about supply and demand. Is this a supply and demand issue? Is this a speed to market issue? What is the role of government? What is the role of builders in the private sector? And it's good to have different perspectives on this, and that's why we brought the three of you here, because we want to provide everyone here kind of different thoughts and perspectives about this issue, since it's a very convoluted issue, knowing that we are all working together to solve it. So, David, I'll start with you with this question. What do you, of those things, speed to market, the role of government, the role of the private sector, which you help lead, what is the biggest challenge? And maybe if you have thoughts on potential solutions, share those.
Sure. Well, I guess I would start off by saying, ever hear me? Okay. Yep. That we are working together. I have seen a big focus on nonprofits, the private sector and the public sector coming together in the past few years to try and tackle this issue, and I think we all have a specific role to play. I talk often about the 5 L's in terms of the challenges. You've got land, labor, lumber, lending, and legislation. So there are a lot of things like interest rates that's outside of our control, material pricing outside of our control. But what can we focus on within the region? We spend a lot of time at SAHBA on the workforce development and training aspect of it. We have a scholarship endowment that we're very proud of at Pima Community College to sponsor kids going through. Sorry, Marcy. Who want to pursue a career in the trades, and so that's a significant thing for us. And then we spend a lot of time on public policy advocacy. Our national association did a study a couple of years ago. About 25% of the cost of a new home is attributable to government fees, taxes, and regulation or going through the entitlement process. So if you're talking about a $400,000 median home price, about $100,000 of that is attributable directly to those related costs. And certainly we're not saying that number should be zero, but hey, what is it that we can do to make it easier and quicker to get to market? Infrastructure is another huge issue. We did an analysis recently. There are about 24,000 single-family home lots that are impeded in some way because of infrastructure issues, whether it's roads, whether it's water and sewer, whether it's flood control, and these are big ticket items. So every time that a builder developer has to pay $10, $15, $20 million for some kind of infrastructure improvement, those costs get passed on where it's possible to those home buyers. So I think we've got to come up with different creative financing districts, have greater public investment in infrastructure. And then I do think there's a bigger issue about kind of the depth of the market here in Tucson. I think at the check was looking at the map dashboard, we trail almost all the other peer communities in terms of our area median income, and I think that needs to be a focus, that job creation and prosperity.
Thanks, David. So Ann, going to you next. David brought up that you are working together to create some of these solutions, but he also brought up some issues about infrastructure, those costs being borne by the developers. But there, like we said earlier, there is a role that government plays in this. So talk a little bit more about the biggest challenges from your perspective.
Yeah, as I said, I like numbers. So I was appreciative when the state passed some legislation a year and a half ago saying that jurisdictions need to update their housing market study every 5 years and put out an annual report. And so last year we hired a company who Pima County is also working with on a regional housing assessment. For the city to be compliant with the state, we hired Echo Northwest, and they did a 5-year, 10-year, 20-year housing needs assessment for us based on, and I think this is something I've heard David say before, the underproduction that has occurred since the Great Recession, the homelessness we're experiencing now, and then also what we anticipate in terms of folks moving here. And so what they have said is over the next 10 years, we need 35,000 units of new housing to meet the demand. And a lot of that is because of the underproduction that we just have not built enough since the recession. And so of that 35,000 new units, approximately 12,000 is estimated to be for market rate housing, families that can afford a mortgage payment or can afford decent rental prices. And so for that 12,000, to me, ideally the market can cover that. The home prices can be high enough to cover the cost of construction, or rental prices can be higher enough to pay off a permanent loan. But so to me, government's role is to try to support the market wherever we can. Try to support developers wherever we can. And I think an example of that recently in the city, as David said, regulation, we need to be able to have developable land and zoning that makes it easy. And so the city's community corridor tool project that we recently did, where on most major corridors in Tucson, by right, it will be much better to develop, it will be much easier to develop housing. And so that's an example of where I think government can support the market. We should. Where I think it gets trickier is that remainder is for low-income families. And so approximately 13,000 of the needed units within the city limits is for families less than 30% of area median income. And so for a family of 4, that's $32,000. So we need to build over 13,000 units for an extremely low-income family. And that's also where I feel like government can play a role and support making sure that there is enough supply so that we don't see the numbers of the numbers of unhoused that we're seeing today.
Thanks, Dan. So Dan, I purposefully had you go last because you, as you talked about, your focus is on affordable housing, but you're sort of at this intersection, between working with the government, working with the private sector. So from your perspective, what are the greatest challenges?
Well, before we get to the challenges, I just want to talk a little bit about what makes housing affordable. Because you can't understand the challenges unless you know what makes it affordable. If you are a developer, you can't just lower the prices. I mean, the prices are what they are for a reason. And market rate is going to be market rate. But on the affordable side, there's several things. Number one is minimal debt service. It costs, if you're doing housing in volume, there's a huge outlay of cash to do that. And if you have a lot of debt service, you got to build that debt service into your rents. There's no way around that. It's like for health insurance, the claims that's built on medical claims. Claims are the claims. Well, if you have debt service, you got to build it into the rents. So you want to minimize that as much as possible. There is funding. There's low interest funding, but there's also funding that's forgivable if you hit certain compliance benchmarks. You want to get as much of that as possible. That keeps the rent down. You can't really make a profit off of it. Real affordable housing, you get a developer fee at the beginning when the project's complete. You can't draw cash out of that project almost forever. So unless you're willing to do that without that profit coming in, you can't do affordable housing. The rent's controlled. You don't have the option of just raising rent when you want to or feel like you need to raise rent, and rental subsidies. The city of Tucson has been very generous with project-based vouchers. We've received a ton of them, and with a project-based voucher, they'll pay, it covers the rent minus 30%, or 30% of the renter's income. So the renter, the tenant, never has to pay over 30% of their income, which makes it affordable for them. So those are the things you have to do. Now, the things that are problems, number one is to get awards with minimal to no debt service. They're highly competitive, and Tucson can at best get 0 to 3 of those a year. We usually get 1 or 2. Those products are expensive. They usually involve somewhere between 60 and 90 units. They can be a little bigger than that, but that's the general range. You may see some as many as 120 units, but 60 to 90 is the general range. And each of those projects takes about 3 years from the planning to the award to the permits to the construction to leasing them up. So you can see that's not going to put much of a dent in the issues that we have. The other issues are the land acquisition for these projects. Whoever is selling that land has to be willing to sell it conditionally on getting the award to do the construction, which usually means they're holding that land on good faith for 6 to 18 months. Not many are willing to do that. You also have the issue of people not wanting that in their neighborhood, which has killed more projects than it hasn't. And then the zoning is unbelievably difficult. When you're talking about the homeless population, for example, everybody wants to see a solution to that. Everybody's nickel and diming it here and there. Everybody has their little projects. It's nice and it's all good, but none of it's transformational. None of it makes a huge difference in a relatively short and relatively inexpensive period of time and cost. And quite frankly, finding the land to do that and the zoning to do that, I've been trying to do it for 7 years. Every time we find a parcel, there's some reason why we can't use that parcel, and the zoning is a massive obstacle because whoever owns the land isn't willing to hold the land as long as it takes to do the zoning so you can do high-density, low-cost housing. So those are the biggest issues. The issues is, finding the money to do it is difficult, but I've had to send money back. Last year I sent $6.5 million back because we couldn't control land and get the zoning done quickly enough. That's the major issue behind all of it.
Fascinating. Thank you, Dan. So the next question is a little bit of a magic wand question. A lot of your organizations, as you've noted, are working together to try to come up with solutions. Recently, Pima County, the City of Tucson, many other jurisdictions passed the Prosperity Initiative, which has some recommendations in it related to this issue. So I'll start with you, Ann. Talk a little bit about that, and maybe give a perspective on if you were able to wave a magic wand, what would that wave do?
I do like waving magical wands. I'm glad, and David mentioned this too, that one of the biggest challenges in our community is our high poverty rate. And so what used to be naturally occurring affordable housing, not for everybody, but for many families, they could make it. That's no longer the case. We have housing costs going up, but our poverty rate has still stayed, unfortunately, persistently high and higher than Pima County. The city's higher than Pima County and higher than the state overall. And so in terms of what we can do, I know I work for the city. I want to give Pima County some kudos here. Pima County recently committed to long-term funding for the next 10 years for housing. And so Dan is right in terms of we only get a few projects a year to build affordable housing thanks to federal tax credits. But there's another tax credit program that if you have enough gap funding, and there's some nuance here, but it's you can make the numbers work if you have enough gap funding. And so Pima County's commitment to this long term, I think, will result in increased number of units and will make a huge difference. I also think that we really need to, waving my magic wand, it is about housing across the whole housing continuum and really trying to support people where they're at. And so from having more emergency shelters and shelter beds for folks who need it, and all the way through the housing continuum and helping people purchase a home and be first-time homeowners. So to me, whenever people are like, what kind of housing is most important? My answer is always yes. Anything, any unit you can produce across that whole continuum is important housing. So I think working together, Pima County's commitment, really trying to think about how do we make those 35,000 units of housing happen in the city over the next 10 years could make a big difference.
Thanks, Ann. Dan, I'll go to you next. You talked about some significant challenges in terms of, particularly as it relates to land availability and zoning. That some projects just didn't happen because they weren't able to be zoned. So wave your magic wand, and if you have any insight too on the Prosperity Initiative, and because I know you were involved in that as well, please share that.
One of the things that hasn't been available is funding for transitional programs and transitional housing, which is a big need, and I could talk forever on that. Although there may be some changes coming that way. I would suggest to people who are interested in this, if you want to learn more about the national model for homeless villages and permanent housing, look up Community First Village in Austin, Texas. It's the gold standard. Nobody else is close. I've been trying to replicate that here for over 5 years. If you're looking for the gold standard in transitional programs for folks who are homeless, in a need to stabilize their life and move on to employment, permanent housing and such, I would recommend you look up Delancey Street Foundation, which is headquartered in the Embarcadero in San Francisco. It's the most successful, and it's our model. So I think what I'd like to see happen, we need, on the permanent housing side, we need substantial acreage to put several hundred small homes, tiny homes, shipping container conversions, on very high density. We could probably put 500 homes on 15 to 20 acres. There's no such zoning that allows for that currently. And people argue about it, and they talk about it, and they don't do a damn thing about it. There has to be a way to do that. I mean, you can get the land, you can do a PAD. We've talked about doing that. But that's critical. These tiny homes, which are fully functional, bathrooms, kitchens, the works, the tiny homes can range anywhere from 200 square feet to 700 square feet. The shipping container conversions are 320 square feet. They're virtually indestructible. Those things range from 55,000 to 120,000 fully done. Doesn't include the site prep and the site acquisition, but it doesn't cost a lot. It can be done quickly, and basically, if we had the place to put it and we had the zoning that allowed it, it can be done relatively inexpensively and fairly quickly. And there are models out there to follow. That's what I've been hoping that we can do. Like I said, everybody's doing a little bit, which is wonderful. We keep getting further behind. We got to do something large scale, and we have to do something transformative, and we got to do it now. The money's going to be there, I think, over the next year or so, and then it's probably going to disappear. So the window, there's a crack in the window now, chance of it being open soon, but that'll close fairly quickly as well.
Thanks, Dan. So to round this out, David, Dan gave some examples. I attended an event that you were a part of. I think it's the State of Real Estate that's put on every year. I remember seeing some other examples in Minnesota, Minneapolis in particular, Minneapolis-St. Paul, where they're doing some innovative practices in this area. You know, the Sunshine Mile was also kind of set up as an overlay zone to allow for greater density. What is your sort of magic wand on this particular issue?
Well, it's also, it's a bit of a game of whack-a-mole, right? Like sometimes you beat down one issue and something else pops up. And so we have to be cognizant of that. Even I was thinking as we were talking, interest rates. Interest rates is just such a huge effect on affordability. But I think, we're expected to see some relief on interest rates. But my opinion, I think at least in the short term, home prices are going to go up if interest rates go down. I think eventually your dollar's going to go further and it'll be a good thing. Zoning, I agree. I mean, we want to have zoning relief, but we have to recognize the concerns of existing residents. So it's a careful balancing act. It is an all the above, all in strategy, and it's going to require compromise. We always talk about let builders do what they do best and build homes. So whatever can be done to help eliminate barriers or obstacles is a good thing. I think the city and the county have started to do some things that are going to help. One of the things that we've been actively involved in is the city's working on a missing middle housing code amendment. Middle housing is duplexes, triplexes, quads, more dense product type than a traditional single family home. We're supportive of that. I think it's moving in a very good direction. But of course, the city wants to be cautious about the rollout, so they're going to limit it to a very closely defined geographic area. I had a member who said, "Hey, I've got a 5-acre parcel that would be great for this, but it's just on the outside of what the boundaries are." Well, can we figure out how to create some kind of exception or variance process to allow projects like that to come in? Is it better, as Dan saying, "Hey, let's just go big. Let's be really forward thinking, and then if we have to, if we're going to break some eggs, right, when making that omelet, so maybe we need to be bold instead of being cautious if we really want that transformative change." As a private sector guy, we're always big on. And you can't say one thing and then do another. And picking on my friends at Pima County a little bit, and this is just an example to kind of support what I mean is the county passed a comprehensive update to the floodplain management plan earlier this year, and we were pushing and saying a lot of things that what you're proposing is going to increase housing costs. And what they did was they included exceptions for affordable housing projects, but not for those market rate projects. So it's an actual acknowledgement that it will affect house pricing, but it carves out an exemption for certain types of housing. And we think, hey, look, if it's going to make the costs go up, regardless of whether it's market rate or it's for 60, 80% AMI, we should try and mitigate those costs, or at least look at other things to try and offset those costs, whether it's fees, whether it's zoning. But I'm definitely more optimistic today than I would have been, even a few years ago. I have the honor of serving on the Pima County Affordable Housing Commission, and they are really pushing the boundaries of all these ideas and options, and it is a full continuum approach. But more needs to be done without question.
Thanks, David. And you grabbed your mic. Did you have a quick comment?
I just appreciate you bringing up the missing middle zoning that the city is currently working on and the delicate balance there. One of my favorite people that is a leader that I always appreciate everything he says. He always says, if you're saying no to something, you're saying yes to something else. And so to me, if we are going to say no to missing middle housing, we're going to say yes to continued homelessness and housing pressures. And so I do think it's a balance there. We've seen this work in communities where there has been missing middle in large-scale ADU builds. We have seen housing costs go down. We have seen homelessness go down. And so this is something that, seeing it with my own eyes, going to some of these communities, I really think can make a difference.
Well, seeing soon-to-be President Bobby lurking behind me, this is all the time that we have for this panel. I do want to thank Cammie Evans and Jonathan Rothschild for helping to reach out to our fine members of our panel today. Let's give them a round of applause. Excellent information shared. Thank you all very, very much.
I wanted to thank all the housing affordability panel. You guys did great. And something that we do all the time for all speakers, we have a Make Way for Books book that we'd like you all to sign. It'll go into the Make Way for Books library. Okay, so take it down there. Thank you again. Now we have Blue Badge, Bruce Richardson, who'll be presenting to Dre Williams.
Oh, I'm going from right here. Hello, everybody. I'm going to begin my comments by stating it is my pleasure today to serve as a stand-in for Vic Jacobs, but as Vic's here today, I'm going to begin by just saying, surprise! It is my honor in presenting Blue Badge to my new friend, Dre Williams. In her time amongst our ranks, Dre has jumped right in with both feet, as I'm sure many of you have noticed. She has served as a host for a couple of the events around town luncheons. She's joined me for multiple hiking treks with the Hiking Fellowship this summer. She is also working with Joe D. on the Peace Pole project and is actively preparing for another successful run of the food court at the Tucson Classics Car Show. Dre's outgoing personality is a perfect addition to our club, and it is my honor and privilege to share that she has completed all requirements in earning her Blue Badge. Congratulations, Dre.
Nope, no comment.
Congratulations, Dre. Well deserved. I now wanted to introduce everybody's favorite, Charlotte Harris, and Paul Harris presentations.
Paul Harris Fellows are presented to donors of the Rotary International Foundation for valuable projects such as the purchasing and distribution of polio immunizations to eliminate polio and creating... Can you hear me now? Okay, I'll keep going. And creating wells for safe drinking water in countries where children die before the age of 1 as their drinking water comes from rivers where cattle live. Today we recognize fellow Rotarians Bruce Tunzi, who is receiving his Paul Harris Fellow +2, and Hoot Gibson is receiving his Paul Harris Fellow +5. They are both wearing their new pins. Bruce Tunzi is a 16-year member of our club and moved here from the St. Louis area in 1981. He and his wife Sandy have been married 27 years, and their family includes 3 adult children and 2 grandchildren. When Bruce talks about his best Rotary moment, he shares it's each year the Tucson Classics Car Show, where he is amazed and impressed at what we can accomplish as a club and the many organizations and people we help as a result. When he reflects on his accomplishments he was most proud of, as a kid, earning his Eagle Scout, as an adult, personally, his marriage and family, professionally qualifying for 25 trips to Colonial Life Leaders Conferences worldwide between 1986 and 2016, and currently helping his fellow Medicare beneficiaries understand their options and making good decisions. Bruce expresses his support of Rotary International in this way, quote, "As Rotarians, we have many opportunities to provide service locally to deserving organizations. Supporting Rotary International allows us to extend our reach worldwide and make a difference. Through our support of Rotary International, a world fellowship of people just like us, we encourage the advancement of international understanding, goodwill, and peace." Hoot Gibson is a 29-year member of our club and a native Tucsonan born at Tucson General Hospital. Hoot graduated with a bachelor's degree in engineering and transportation engineering from NAU and did his graduate work at the U of A. For the past 38 years, he has been with New York Life here in Tucson. He has a degree in chartered life underwriting. For the past 5 years, Hoot has been chosen to be listed in the top financial professionals by Forbes magazine. He and his wife Betty have been married for 36 years. They have 2 children, a daughter Raina, who is a speech pathologist in Nebraska, and Arthur, who received his PhD in chemistry from the University of Arizona. Among his hobbies, Hoot includes hiking, gardening, photography, brewing beer, tasting wine, and traveling. When asked why he supports Rotary International, he replies, quote, "It is because it is one of the best organizations at helping people all around the world without having to rely on government or religious programs. This help, whether it is clean water, emergency kits, student exchange programs, or the eradication of polio, only promotes the understanding that all people are brothers and not enemies. This in turn promotes peace and understanding throughout all cultures, which can only lead to a better, more productive human experience." So please join me in congratulating Bruce and Hoot on their new Paul Harris Fellows and thank them for their continued support of Rotary International.
I was going to get my own.
This one.
Congratulations, gentlemen. And now we're going to hear from Laura Mello. She's the Regional Major Gifts Director with Rotary International and hopefully a speaker down the road for us, too. Thanks.
No pressure. Well, hello. I am I'm here. Very excited to be with you here. I've been in Rotary for almost 15 years. I've been in this role with Rotary International almost 3 years. I didn't realize that Rotary would actually pay us to do work for them, but they do. And so I have the amazing opportunity to be a Regional Major Gift Officer for Rotary. And I cover a territory that's Southern California, Arizona, and Hawaii. I know everyone feels really bad for me. I live in San Diego, so I'm fully remote, although my office is technically in Evanston, and I get to travel around and work with amazing Rotarians like you. And if you ask me what my favorite district is, of course I would say my home district, but off the record, sorry, 4-way test, District 5500 is my favorite. And it's for a couple of reasons. One being that although I was born and raised in San Diego and I live there with my husband and my 2 daughters, I am a proud University of Arizona graduate, so bear down. But you are dynamic Rotarians. You are generous with your time, with your service, and your finances. And I don't know many other districts that do what you do. And so I am here to be a resource. If you have questions about the Rotary Foundation, where does the money go? How does it all work? Why do we make it so confusing? All those kind of things. I am here to hopefully answer those questions or find those answers. I'd love to hear about your Rotary experiences, what brought you to Rotary, what keeps you in Rotary. So I'm here all weekend for the district conference. Please introduce yourself. I would love to chat with you and ask me questions. And more than anything, I am here on behalf of Rotary International to say thank you. I did a little bit of research just to see what your club looks like. And most recently in San Diego, we were celebrating a club for their centennial celebration, 100 years. And their goal was to cumulatively give $1 million to the Rotary Foundation. And they achieved that. And then I looked and saw that you guys have been around a little bit longer than that. And you guys have contributed over $2.5 million to the Rotary Foundation. So that's absolutely amazing. So on behalf of Rotary International, I am here to say thank you. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your generosity. You are changing lives, and you are the goodness that our world needs. So thank you so much.
Now, who doesn't want to give more money to Rotary after that? Thank you, Laura. Thank you very much. Now we have Dan Com again for the raffle.
Yeah, I could do that. All right, so the raffle, in the interest of time, and try to get out of here, because Michael Guyman, where are you? All right. Ticket number 291063, $80. 291063, you won? All right, there you go. And Dorina pulled the card, and you got the 7 of hearts. So sorry, no big pot, but there you go. All right, moving along real quick. I got the Rotary winners from the Best of Tucson. So we wanted to go on a way to go and say for banner, is Debbie Shepard here? No. Cartridge World, Chuck. Come on, Chuck gets a little better than that. All right. How about Jen Hoffman with Contact One Call Center? Jim Click Automotive, Jim Click. Pack Mail, David Lex. David, are you here? Ralph's Moving and Storage, Kathleen Wicks and Lynette Wells. All right, we got the Villas with Bobby Larson. Bobby who? Bobby Larson. Tucson Appliance, Chris Edwards is not here. And then the YMCA with Curtis Dawson. I got a real quick Happy Jackson. I got Amy Graves. We're going to put you on now. If you would do your 20 seconds. Pretty much, $1 a second.
Yes, thank you for squeezing me in, Dan. Our fellow Rotarian, who is not here today, I was hoping he would be, and owner of Tucson Appliance, Chris Edwards, and his son Corbin, have kicked off their campaign to raise funds that help women in treatment at the Haven. The Haven provides women and their young children free housing while they work toward recovery from substance use disorders and trauma. You can support Chris and Corbin as the Haven's Champions for Recovery by scanning the QR code on a postcard I have here, and we'll put it over at the registration table, or you can go to the haventucson.org website.
Thank you very much, Amy. Now, before our announcements, I just quickly wanted to have Dave White had something that he'd heard about from California. He's going to share.
You know, Bobby picked me up in the Corvette today, and he said, man, he was late. I was sitting out, and he said, man, I was coming down Kolb Road, and they had 2 lanes blocked off because they dug a big hole, and there were an inordinate number of people standing around looking in the hole. And I told him, well, did you hear about California? Caltrans had to lay off 50,000 people. You know why? Somebody invented a shovel that would stand up by itself.
You're just lucky I had him give it. My timing's so bad.
Hey,
It was
Bobby?
really brutal.
Bobby, is that a $50 or a $100 fine? Everybody for 50, raise your hand. Everybody for 100, raise your hand.
I'll help you out.
Thank you for your contribution, Mr. White.
All right, now to announcements. Want to check out up there, announcements, events going on. Remember the Golf Fellowship is every other Friday, just does great stuff. The district conference is this Saturday. I get to see Laura down there on Friday when Elle is speaking, so if anybody else can make it Friday morning down in Tubac, he'll be speaking and actually playing whatever that instrument is, Elle. I'm sorry, I don't remember what that's called. So we have lots of projects, as you can see. That's the help of Diana Medeiros, who really got this started. So we have actually 13 different service projects going on every year, and some of those have as many as 4 or 5 times a year. So there's a lot of service projects going on. So if that's something that's important to you too as a possible member, please see me. Red badge selfies. All right, we've got Rob Same there on the right, or on the left picture, but on the right with Matt Blair. We've got Rob again on the left of this one with Elle and Mitch Pizek, and Rob, who must carry around a camera with him, is with David Lex there down on the bottom right. So Rob, he's a great guy. If you haven't met him yet, you really should. Next, we've got Shannon Roberts.
Right here.
There's Shannon, good.
Hello, fellow Rotarians. Pardon me, I'm losing my voice here. I just want to give you all a quick Happy Jackson. We are Scouting America, formerly Boy Scouts. We're having our second annual gala November 15th. It's to support all of our Southern Arizona youth. It will be at the El Conquistador at 5 p.m. Is that correct? 5 p.m.? 5 p.m. So we encourage you all to go online, buy your tickets. It's $20 a ticket. We're still looking for sponsors. You can sponsor a table. You can donate a silent auction item. But again, it all goes to support youth here in Southern Arizona. So we look forward to attending. There's a QR code there on the actual screen, or you can visit us online at CatalinaCouncil.org. Okay, CatalinaCouncil.org. Thanks.
And if you hadn't had the opportunity yet, please be sure and meet Shannon, because he's a great guy, and Fa is back from travels abroad, so Fa is a great young lady for us too. Now Dave White with the Car Show Minute.
Oh man, how's everybody doing? We're only selling $10 tickets, and they're going like hotcakes. We are up over 35%, and I tell you, this basket back here was filled up. By the way, I have these. We've got about 6 of these, and I've got more if you need them. So this is just I put this down at the Harley Davidson dealership. They said, hey, we'll sell tickets for you. So if you have a place that you could put this, that they could sell tickets, we have a little deposit box. They're really good. So 3 weeks from Saturday, we're going to have the best car show in Southern Arizona. And the day, Jen Hoffman has already put in the order for great weather. So that's on the agenda. Okay? Hey, I just want to say thank you all for all of your great help, all the energy and time and passion that you're putting into this. That's what's going to make this a great event. Thank you.
Next we have Jeannie Zita. If you haven't met Jeannie, if it's car show related, she knows about it.
It's actually not car show, it's youth exchange.
Oh, she's exchange. I'm sorry. I'm just so used to you doing that all the time. She does a lot.
I double between two things.
There you go.
So actually, first, did you have is Amity's movie? Okay, I'll just quickly say that Amity Claggett was our youth exchange student to Japan last year, and she's not able to be here to give a report personally. Some of you may remember she was the one who was doing ASU digital online prep that you booed her when she came to tell you about Ryla and how she did that leap of faith, and she was just calm and did the whole thing. She's great. She went to Japan. And now is the time, I have flyers on your table about this, now is the time to try to recruit kids, grandkids, neighbors, friends, young people that you know would be good exchange students, because October 29th is going to come fast, and that's the deadline to apply to go on a year-round exchange. And we have no one on exchange this year. We didn't have anyone emerge last year. So I think we all need to help own this, finding some exchange students. We also have short-term exchanges that will be just in the summer for a few weeks, and we will be needing host families. If we have someone go out, we'll need host families here, which, as Jan Hoffman and Faye Morris and Eric Smith and others would say, was a great experience to be a host family. Let's see, the other thing, Ryla is coming up. Nancy did send out something about it. The deadline is also for October 29th, and to go to the camp up in Prescott, Arizona, over Martin Luther King weekend, and our club will pay for up to 10 students to go. So recruit kids that would benefit from that leadership experience. The students there include Chase Pickering, who's Steve's grandson, and Karu Amano, our exchange student from last year, and a student from Edge High School, and then 2 from our Pima JTAT Interact Club. So we did send 5 wonderful students last year, and we hope to send 10 this year. Now, the next up is we have a movie from Amity, and I'll let that play out, and she really valued it. So here we go. Amity Claggett, who lives in Tucson.
This is Amity Claggett. I exchanged to Japan to District 2760, and this is a presentation on my year's journey there. On my exchange, I attended Kariakita High School. For half the time, I was in an international class, and half I was in a normal Japanese class. During my time in Kariakita, we went on school trips to Hiroshima and Osaka, and we also did sports days and played basketball and dodgeball during those. I got to go on many trips, including Osaka for Universal Studios, Mount Fuji for camping. I got to go to Hakuba and go skiing, Kyoto and see the scenery, and I got to go to Tokyo with Rotary. During my time in Japan, I stayed with 6 different host families and moved 9 different times. I am thankful to all of the families for taking care of me and welcoming me into their homes. I got to explore many places with my host families, from going to just the supermarket to going to Ghibli Park, farms, camping, strawberry picking, and local festivals. I was taught about the local religions and cultures, from Buddhism to Shintoism, and how the local foods and crafts were done. I got to go to matcha museums and make the local pottery as well. I got to explore the realm of the culinary world by making and trying many new foods. My personal favorite either being udon or chicken hearts. They're really good. There are also a variety of Rotary events, from skiing in Hakuba to going to Tokyo and food festivals, as well as cleaning up an island right off of where my host family was located. I'm so grateful that you all made this opportunity available to me, and I will never forget the things that I got to experience in this past year. All of you made this possible for me, and I am truly thankful from the bottom of my heart.
I have just one other thing to add. In order to help people know what it's like to go, if you find some students that might be interested, on the flyer on your table, there's a QR code at the bottom. They could sign up for a one-time information session. They could sign up on the Zoom link or for a Zoom call. And we will be doing 3 of them before the deadline so that students would have a chance to learn about what the process is, what's involved with short and long term. So you don't have to have all the answers if you ask kids about doing it. You could just say if you're interested, you could sign up for the Zoom call with your parents and they would learn a lot more. So, and you can ask Thomas or Fa. They are both past exchange students too. So thank you.
All right, before Bobby closes, I'd like to give a round of applause to Bobby for filling in the last 2 weeks for Dot. Can everybody say thanks to Bobby? Great job, sir.
All right, well, thank you all for coming today. Also, our virtual guests, I hope you enjoyed the meeting, and just really appreciate all of you coming out today. Please donate to our U of A and Pima Community College scholarship students as we continue to support our scholars. Actually, too, I would recommend everybody go to the U of A football game this Saturday because they're good and they're playing Oklahoma State, who I know Bruce loves Oklahoma State, but everybody else, oh, it is Iowa State. Sorry, I'm off one. You're right. So don't go. So don't go out there this week because I guarantee it'll be very quiet. All right. Then we got also your blue cups. Do we have those here? No. Your scholarship cups on your tables. If you can, donate to that. There's a QR code on them. Plus, some people have where you could just have it automatically deducted $3 a week. And it's real easy. You don't even know what happened, and you did a lot for a lot of kids. Congratulations to Dre on your blue badge. Congratulations to Hoot and Bruce Tunzi for your Paul Harris. Thank you to the Cookie Monster sponsor, Joni Condit. Really appreciate that, and I know Dot did especially. And thank you to Ann Chanecka, the City of Tucson, Dan Ranieri of La Frontera, and David Godlewski of SAHBA for speaking to us about house affordability. You guys did a great job. Appreciate it. Next week, October 1st, we'll have Dave White presenting for our 19th annual Tucson Classics Car Show. You don't want to miss that meeting. And as all of you that came to the meeting last week, you now know why you worked so hard putting on that car show. They were awesome people and organizations. Thank you very much. Toast and adjournment, Mitch.
Raise your glass as we toast our precious and beautiful children. May they be blessed with happiness and wealthy parents. Amen.